Hey, how's it going everyone? This is YLAM here. In today's video, I want to talk to you about manual focus once again. I've already talked about this a lot in my other videos, but every single time I bring this up, especially when I talk to people about it face to face, I feel like I just ask them to stick their hands into the cobra's nest and then I'm telling them that it's not going to bite them, but they don't really believe me. So this is going to be a video specifically focused on how to do manual focus, how easy it is to use, and also all of the modern methods that you can use to make manual focus super easy to use. So let's go ahead and get started. So right now this is a demonstration of how I shoot my Fuji Fridays. So I always use my X-H1 camera. I have the monitor to be able to compose myself to make sure that I'm in frame. I look exactly the way I want it to. And from here I just set up my focus and then I can start recording. I already have my audio set up. That's always with me. So right here, this is a custom button that's on pretty much any of the cameras. So on the X-T3 and also on the X-H1, you do have one custom button right here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and hit it, and that will immediately bring me into focus. As you can see now, I have very sharp focus on my face. I also have focus assist, so I can actually see the red outlines on my glasses. And then from there, all I need to do is I need to hit record. I have my tally light turned on, and I know I'm actually recording, and then I can go ahead and just record my Fuji Fridays. This is a simple example of how I use manual focus when I'm recording my skits. I have a 16mm f1.4. It's a very noisy lens, but if I put it on manual focus and I only use the focusing once right before I record my videos, I don't really have to worry about the noisy autofocus because it's already in focus. This shot is pretty static, so there's no real reason for me to actually have to change focus, and it's really easy to do, and that's how I do my Fuji Fridays. So let's go ahead and dive into how I actually set this all up on my Fuji X-T3 back here. So let's go ahead and talk about manual focus for photography first, and then we'll move over to video. So right now what I have set up is I have a background object, and then I have a foreground object, and I can focus between those two. Right now we're set up for autofocus single. So if I go ahead to press this button, I will get focus on the background object, and then I can move my focus point, and then I can move it into the foreground, so I can make this sharp or the other one sharp. So let's go ahead and move it over to manual focus. So now we're over on manual focus. So that means if I push this button, I no longer get that beep because I'm no longer get that manual focus. The interesting thing about modern cameras is that the AF lock can actually act as an AF on button. In other words, I can actually trigger autofocus through this button right here. So if I hit this button, you'll notice that I still get that beep. That means I'm actually getting autofocus. But once that beep is gone, it goes back and reverts back into manual focus. So once again, I get the same features in manual focus that I get in autofocus. What's really great about this is that you can go ahead and easily put your camera into manual focus and then have this act as a back button focus because again, it will always trigger autofocus. So this is a technique that I use all of the time when I'm actually doing photography, is that I go ahead and actually set it up for manual focus, and then I can use this as my back button focus button. So super useful to use. Now, having said that, there is something that you can do to make your life even easier. So if you go into the menu system, you go into AF/MF as the setting, and then you go to manual focus assist. Instead of putting it on the standard, which is what it comes by default, go ahead and highlight focus peaking highlights. For me, the red high is the one that it's easiest to see, so I go ahead and select that. And what you'll see in this image now is that anything that's in focus will get this red outline to it. And this tells me that this is in focus. So let me go ahead, switch back to the back object here. And you'll notice that this is actually in red highlighting. So this is something that's super useful to me. I have it on in both photo and video so that I can easily distinguish what's in focus and what's out of focus. So what's really great about this is that I can continue to use the AF on button, but I can also use the lens to quickly highlight. You'll notice right here that it actually has that red highlighting. So I can actually very easily see when I have focus on either the back or the front. So here's the front, and then I have focus on the back. What's really great about this is that when you actually have this highlighting on, you can go ahead and push it quite a few times. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to see if that red outlining changes. If it changes, that means the focusing system is getting a little bit confused, and then you might have to manually fine tune. But if you go ahead and click the button, And each time you click that button, the red outlining stays the same. You'll eventually get used to what is in focus and what is out of focus when you're using the manual focus ring, because you'll get used to seeing what the red outlining looks like and what is perfect focus. So this is something that I really do recommend that you turn on, because you'll eventually get used to the red outlining, and from there you'll really know what good focus is, and then you can just get used to using manual focus. So now let's go ahead and go into video mode, and we'll go ahead and talk about focusing for video. So I went ahead and I switched it over to manual focus, and now what you'll notice is that if I hit the AF button on, I can go ahead and once again trigger autofocus. If I went ahead and hit the shutter button, you'll notice that it will not actually change because it is in manual focus mode. But once again, the AF lock can actually act as an AF on, which is super useful. Now, just like in photography, if you go into the menu system, you go ahead and go into the camera, you can go into manual assist, and from here, the default is standard, but you can actually choose focus peaking highlights. And once again, I go ahead and choose the red high because it's the easiest for me to see. Now you'll notice there's actually an outline around it. You'll also notice that the things around it usually has a little bit of a red highlight. So not only is this in focus, but anything that's just in front of the cage is also in focus. And then I can go ahead and move it over, and then I can actually select the front element, and you can see that the red highlighting is there. Just like in photography, I can go ahead and just re-trigger it again and again to ensure that the red focus highlighting doesn't change, to ensure that I'm really locked in. And just like in photography, you get used to seeing what the red highlighting is, and once you get used to it, you can actually start manual focusing on the actual glass itself, and it becomes very easy and useful to you. So if I go ahead and I actually just shift it forward, I can easily understand that this is now in focus and there is some red highlighting right in front. So this is my recommended way of learning how to use manual focus, is go ahead and just use the AF on button during manual focus, and you'll just get used to it gradually. The highlighting definitely really helps. At first, when you actually see it, it is a bit annoying because it takes away from the detail of the actual image, but once you get used to it for manual focus, you'll definitely find it useful. Now, before wrapping up this video, there is one extra tip that I want to show you, which is kind of a hybrid way that I actually use autofocus, but it kind of acts like manual focus. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to AF single. Now, if you are in AF single, but it says AFC, most likely what's happening is that you have face detect on, and it will read AFC even though you have it in AF single. Go ahead and turn off face detect, and it will change over to AF single. That's what you really want. Now I'm going to go ahead and start recording, so you'll notice that I'm recording right now, and what you'll notice is that the autofocus will not change. So if I move the autofocus box over to the back, you'll notice that it won't focus immediately on what's on the square. Instead, what you have to do is you have to half press down, and then it would immediately focus in on the back one. So this is what I generally do when I'm actually running and gunning, is that I have it on AFS, and then I can easily just move the box around or move the camera around. And when I need focus in on something, I just half press and I'll get that focus in right there. Once you have focus and you release the half button press, it acts like manual focus. It won't actually change. So this is something that I would definitely recommend. Even if you're taking video of a person, I much rather have this box and put this box over a person and then half press in order to get focus, because it gives me much more refined control. It gives me much finer control than having face detect on, because I can control where this box goes and I can control when the autofocus should trigger. So this is something that I use all of the time when I'm using this as a video camera. So that was a quick video on how I use manual focus. As you can see, even though I'm in manual focus most of the time, I'm still using aspects of autofocus. This is the reason why when I buy lenses, I always want to buy lenses with autofocus, because I'm always using some aspect of autofocus, but I do want to control what is in focus once I start recording, and I don't want the camera to act for me. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can do that. Hopefully this helped you out, but if you have any questions or you need me to clarify anything, definitely definitely leave it in the comments below and I'll try to help you out the best I can. One of the best things that you can ever do for your photography or for your video is to learn how to use manual focus, and I feel like the tools for you to learn manual focus has gotten a lot better over the past few years. So hopefully this will help you out, and I guarantee you're going to find it very useful for a bunch of scenarios out there. Anyhow, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.